that was just perfect because Chuck said, well, we'll try it. And I said, look, I'll try it for a couple of months, see how it works. Well, 800 shows later, we have the doc with us. And welcome back. John Hamels is doc, and he's going to talk about things of interest to seniors. And here he goes. It's your turn.
Well, good morning, Reed, and morning, Andy, and happy anniversary, Reed. 800 shows. I think I've been on 25 of them anyways, maybe more. I'm not sure. Well, good morning, everyone, and as Reed said, it is a great-looking morning out there. Before I came to the show here today, I was running around with our new dog, Max, out in the crisp of the April morning, and it really was exhilarating seeing birds. And then on the way out, I was showing one of our technicians a picture of turkeys that were right along the side of the road on the way over here this morning. So everything's really kind of alive finally, and it seems like it took us forever, but we're here. This morning I thought I'd just talk a little bit about something that probably Andy's going to be touching on, and that's the state budget. Possible, huh? Locally, I think this is where we got to be real careful, everyone. Reed mentioned that the seniors have the power of vote, and that's very true. Having been a school board member for over 16 years and a superintendent for 5 and in administration for 20-some years, we never underestimated the power of the senior vote. Folks, you can come out and speak your mind, but what I'd like you to do, and think about this, before you speak your mind at the voting booth, get the information, attend a school board meeting, ask the questions, set up a meeting, a forum for seniors perhaps with your school superintendent or the Board of Education and get the facts. So many times I've seen where people have come out and voted down a budget because they had the wrong information, only to go through the whole process again and waste a bunch of taxpayer money to do so, only to find out that they were voting on a proposition that was really a good thing. And so on. So take the time, find out the facts. When you realize that very often with the cutbacks in the state aid and so forth, the amount of the budget that you really have a say on is very, very small, because so much of the budget is mandated through the federal government, the state government, and so on, that there really is no choice in the matter. And the things that you're going to see that may irk you, that are going to be cut, whether it's the fine arts or music or a counselor, as you see in the papers nowadays. Some of these things are non-mandatory, and those are the few places that the school board and the superintendent can cut. So keep in mind also, please, that superintendents were teachers once. They started their careers out like all of us with good intentions. They're not diabolical. They're out there trying to do their very best to balance those budgets, to keep programs for kids. And the kids are our future, folks. And we got to make sure they stay educated. We see the education numbers slipping every year when we compare ourselves to our European friends and so forth. I'm getting to hurry up. I like to talk, Reed. You know, he gets the whole 45 minutes or 50 minutes. I get like 3. Anyways, get out there, get educated about what the vote is so that we're not fighting amongst ourselves. And if you don't like it, vote no. If you like it, vote yeah. And also, this week coming up, Reed, on Monday, my partner in music, Bill Drell, and I will be entertaining our good friends over at the county home. We're going to bring our Irish music over there. So we're looking forward to seeing you Monday, folks, at 2 o'clock. Back to you, Reed.
Okay, Renaissance man, John Hamels. Has a band he plays with. Isn't that incredible? What do you play? What's your instrument?
Guitar, mandolin, and Irish bouzouki.
How about that? I love the Irish bouzouki. That's a wonderful sound, I might add. All right. Yeah, 4% of that school budget actually is, it could be altered and changed. And that will include sports and bus, which is what they take out immediately, and immediately the new budget goes through. And arts, I might add, is another one. No music, no art, no nothing, you know. Got a guy here. He's thinking that he may get on the show later. Andy Goodell, he was one of my very first guests when I moved back to my beautiful hometown, Westfield, New York, from Long Island in New York City. And he's still with us. God bless him. And he's, of course, jumped up now. He was county executive back then. And now he is the person who's replaced Bill Parment in the state of New York Assembly. And we have 2 calls. You want to take a call?
Sure.
Probably about teacher tenure.
Could
Morning,
be.
caller. You're on.
Well, hello, Mr.
Hello.
Goodell.
Good morning.
Hey, I was just wondering, apparently you have cut aid to schools, and you have allowed the millionaire's tax to run out, which is forcing districts to raise property taxes. So in effect, you really raise taxes.
Well,
that's an interesting question. I think it's really more of a statement, but this year the state budget was adopted on time. That's the first time in decades that we've had an on-time budget. And the amount that was spent by the state government went down about 2%, which is also historic. That hasn't happened in years. And the state has cut taxes in a number of areas. And
not in this one, evidently, though.
well, no, actually what happened is there was a 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the state legislature imposed a huge tax. They called it a millionaire's tax, but it actually applied, kicked in at about $200,000. The tax really targeted all your small business owners and all your manufacturers.
Wait, I'd like to respond to that. First off, if a small business owner is making $200,000 of clear profit, that's what they're taxed on, they're doing pretty good, and I think they can afford it.
Well, what's happened, though, is when you look at the fact that New York State was taxing every successful small business owner and all the management, that's what that tax was. It was a special tax. The net effect is that it was driving out businessmen from New York State. You can't have the highest taxes in the nation and apply them and expect to have strong job growth.
You can't have the highest taxes in the world either, because they will move to another country as well as to another state.
That's absolutely correct. And in fact, the data showed in New York City, for example, that just in the last couple of years, New York City lost 30 hedge funds. These are the large financial management funds. They all moved to Connecticut. And when they move to Connecticut, of course, you lose all the revenue from those people, plus the jobs. And when you looked at the New York State's job growth, it lagged the entire nation. And the reason it lagged the nation is because the independent reports by the Tax Foundation, for example, show that New York State ranked dead last in terms of being business competitive.
Oh, yeah, the highest
business
taxes
friendly.
in the United States. There's no question about that.
That-
And
that
Chappaqua
all-
County,
that
the
all
highest
sounds-
taxes.
So if you
sounds
want
good
to
on-
have job growth, in New York State, you've got to cut back on your tax rate. You got to make it more
that all
business
sounds
friendly.
good on
You
the
have to make it
surface,
more
but
business competitive. And that's exactly
and
what
that
they're
may
doing.
work.
Go ahead,
That
Carla.
may work between states, but I think the gentleman next to you said that hello?
Hello, you were here.
You're on.
okay.
And he's all ears
The
now.
evidence of that in the world, if we go to Mexico, they have very low corporate taxes, lower than almost anybody, but who wants to live in Mexico? If we go to Haiti, there's almost no tax. Who wants to live in Haiti? It seems like the countries with the best standard of living they do have the higher taxes. Now, I don't like taxes either, but where's the evidence that that works worldwide? Show me the country that has really low taxes, and I'll show you somebody that's living in poverty.
Well, New York State's not competing against Haiti. We're not competing
We're
against
competing against the world,
Mexico. The problem is that New York State during the last decade lost more residents to other states in the nation.
Delaware, for instance, no state sales tax.
Actually,
Yeah, and you look
Florida?
at North Carolina,
population.
Texas, and Florida.
No income taxes.
All those states were growing at a much higher rate than New York State.
Florida has a 12% unemployment rate.
Yeah, they're mostly retired.
No, they're not.
So I don't accept the premise that you can tax your way to prosperity, that you can
Well, no, I'm not
raise the
saying
taxes
that. I'm
on
saying that,
businesses to the highest level and expect businesses to flock to New York. And if you
But
look
the
at where
goal-
the
but the
business
goal
growth
should be to
is,
help
Texas,
people, not
Florida, North Carolina, they have much lower taxes. You look at Pennsylvania and Connecticut, they had lower taxes. And so our real challenge is if we want job growth, and if we want Chautauqua County to increase in residency, and we want to have more prosperity, we have to be business competitive.
Yeah,
and
we
we're not
just-
competing against Haiti,
Yeah,
for
but-
Pete's sake, or Cuba, or Mexico.
Well,
we're
there-
competing
there are the-
against
there are
North
the-
Carolina,
there are the
Pennsylvania.
there are the offshore islands, are pretty sweet, I might
Well,
add, you know. But okay,
I guess we.
Chautauqua
this
County just
council-
had a 9% increase in their taxes. We're the highest
well,
tax
property
county
tax-
in the world.
Yeah, and we got to address those taxes. We got to bring them
The
down.
point is, the counties that currently will say, very simply, what New York State has done is cut taxes, but they passed them on to the county,
And
as this gentleman mentioned.
Yeah.
well,
yeah,
and
right.
so
So you haven't really
we
cut
start,
back.
of course, at the top level. And the first challenge is for the state to reduce its taxes, and this budget is the first budget in decades that cut state spending, and I think that's
all you
important.
have
And a lot
done-
of the cuts were on state operations,
But
as
you
well as
just
other
shifted the
operations.
taxes from the rich
And,
to the poor. That's all you did.
You know, I have trouble.
You shifted the taxes from the rich to the poor.
No. You
Yeah,
got to
you
cut the
did.
taxes
You put
on
it on
everyone. You
property
have to cut
taxes, which affects
taxes
the
on
middle
those
class
who
and
bring
the
jobs
most.
to the state.
Okay, caller.
But you shifted the taxes.
Yeah,
all
caller,
you
you have a lot to, that, in my opinion, is correct. That's what our county exec says too, I might add. It becomes a sales tax, which is totally regressive, rather than an income tax, which should smack it to the rich.
Well, let me address that if I can.
Well, we don't have many rich.
It's hard to answer any of his questions because every time I start to talk, the caller wants to talk.
Well, I can't talk.
But
I think you
the
have
first
more
step,
minutes than
the
I
first step, if I can answer the question, is
we got 2 more minutes, caller.
the first step is to cut state spending, and the state did that in this budget, and to cut state taxes, because you can't have the highest taxes in the nation and expect to encourage job growth here in New York State. The second part, and this is very, very important, is the state has to cut back on the state mandates. The state mandates that cost our school districts money, that cost the county money, and cost the local governments money. And that's the next step that we need to do.
Unfunded mandates, I might add.
Absolutely.
Many of them.
And-
We've got to get the money up for all this craziness.
Absolutely, and so my top priority going forward, now that the state budget is out of the way, is to work on cutting those mandates. And we need to look at pension reform, we need to look at the cost of health insurance, we need to look at the cost of Medicaid and welfare. These are major mandates that are affecting the property taxes that all of us here in Chautauqua County pay. We don't want to be the highest tax county in the state or the highest tax county in the nation, and we need to cut back on those state mandates,
Well,
and that's the next
Andy should know.
next
He's
force.
he's an ex-county exec. Okay, your turn, caller. Last shot here.
Okay, last shot is, how's that working out for Tennessee and Kentucky? I think they have all those things.
I don't know how it's working out for Tennessee and Kentucky.
Oh, go to Appalachia.
I know how it's working out for Chautauqua County in New York State. New York State just lost 2 senators. Chautauqua County lost population. And I think everyone understands that if you want to have job growth, you have to be competitive. And if you're not financially competitive, you won't have the job growth.
Well, I
And
just
we
don't
need to
think it
cut
should be
the
at the
taxes
cost
on the
of the
state
middle
level
class.
and the county level and the local level. And we need to be cutting taxes on for all of our seniors. That's important. And
Okay, well,
if we
my
cut the
last
taxes
statement before I go,
for
'cause I
our
know you're gonna have
seniors
other
and for our
Okay,
residents.
caller, thank you very much. Andy, I hate to interrupt you, but
Just one last statement is if we have to help business by making the middle class into poor people, it's not worth it. I mean, what is the goal of government? To help business or to make people live better?
thank you, caller. A very poignant point, and in fact, is they're trying to cut back on collective bargaining all across this land in various forms, even in New York State, I might add. So you've got a very salient point. 9% increase in our local sales tax this year. What about next year? Not our sales tax, our local real estate taxes, I might add, and other taxes in Chautauqua County. It's becoming a murder. Back to the subject, Andy.
Yes.
You're a freshman in the, what do they call them? You're a newbie, a freshman? What do they call you over there? A probie?
Freshmen, they just call us freshmen, yeah.
Yeah, you just first walked in blindly, because I don't think you've ever been associated with the state government before, have you, in terms of an elected position?
Nope.
And you walk in, and what do you get? Here you say, here I am, I'm Andy Goodell, and they say, who's Andy Goodell? So what happens? What do you do? Do you walk in on your own, or do you call them and say, I'm coming in, or?
Well, you know, they had a general idea that I was elected.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because when I came there, I expected a small office, being a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
And
In the cellar usually, or a closet or something.
exactly. And I was wrong, because when I got there, they didn't have any office for me.
Do it in your car. Use your cell phone, right?
So I shared an office with another assemblyman,
Who was that?
Sean Hanna from Rochester.
Okay.
He was very gracious. And I shared the office with Sean Hanna for about 2 months.